name is Chad Ragland. I'm from Carlsbad, California. I'm a professional off-road racer. In November of 2005, I was racing for Collins Motorsports. That was my first Baja 1000 entry as driver of record with Collins Motorsports and in the trophy truck class for me. So, you know, this was the biggest race that I'd ever been in. We started about 8th, which was a good starting position. Had an okay start, broke a part that required about 10 minutes to fix, and that put me down considerably. I mean, you know, in the first 50 miles to be down 10 minutes, you're already, I went from 8th to 15th, I think, immediately. I remember Mark Miller was there, and he looked at me and he said, just calm down. This is the Baja 1000. It's a really long race. You're fine. By San Felipe, about 300 miles into that race, we're leading overall. I came into my second pit, and they told me there, that's where I got the news that I was leading, and, you know, as I take off and I'm driving is, you know, a pretty unique moment to know you're physically the first car and you're leading the Baja 1000, you know, and so many things go through my head about what that's meant to my dad to win and, you know, what it means to win, and then all of a sudden you're thinking to yourself, maybe I have the chance, and then you have to not think about that. I mean, that's the worst thing you can probably do, is to get caught up in a victory when you're still halfway, you know, from the finish line. So at our planned driver change at about race mile 400, I was supposed to get in, another guy was supposed to replace me. I pull into my pit, they yank me out, another driver gets in and the truck's off, and I'm kind of taking my helmet off and, you know, getting a drink and recovering, and I kind of hear people talking, and it's about 5–10 minutes after the truck's gone, I realized it was my dad that got in. Now, he was driving with Brian Collins, but because Brian had problems, he got in the fastest truck of the team, which for that day was me. So now my dad's driving my car, in the lead, you know, at the Baja 1000, and for me, yeah, wow, pretty defining moment. Didn't really get any better than that. The reason why I race, wow, this is a little hard for me to answer, I guess, because I don't like to spend a lot of time thinking about questions like this, but for me, I have the need to compete, and I've had that since I've been a little kid. I've always wanted to push myself. I've always liked that little bit of uncomfortableness that you get from competing in a level where you know, there's a lot of other good people out there. You don't want to look bad. You know, you've got family history in this, and you know, it'd be a lot easier to walk away from it and not do it. But I like that thrill, and I like that desire to compete and always push myself. So for me, it's involved speed and it's involved racing. And you know, as a kid, I swam and I raced bicycles and BMX, and I did a whole bunch of activities that I think that were kind of a precursor to me, you know, competing at a level that I'm at now and that I want to continue racing. I got into the sport of off-road racing by default. I don't think I really had a whole lot of choice. One of my earliest memories is of my dad sawing off a cast that he had from a motorcycle accident. And he was doing that so he could participate in a motorcycle race that was that weekend. And I remember my mom kind of gathering, you know, up all of his stuff and my stuff, and we were going to try and make it work and see if he could finish. So since I've been a little kid, it's just been something that I've participated in with my family, with my friends, and been involved with. So it wasn't, you know, really a big epiphany or a major moment where I said I need to go do that. It's just something I've always done and I've always wanted to do. So it's in my blood, that's for sure.
I'm not proud of what I did. I just keep them there to remind me that I once was a kid.
You know, SCORE International is the leading off-road organization in the world. We make the rules and regulations for the sport, and our granddaddy of all events is the Tecate SCORE Baja 1000, which is definitely a global event. It takes place in Baja California and Baja Sur. About every other year we run the race, which is called the Peninsula Race, from Ensenada to La Paz or Cabo San Lucas. I think the future is fantastic. I think that the sport itself, because of the great coverage we've been receiving from NBC and ESPN globally and all the print media, has given the world an opportunity to see how difficult and how exciting our sport is. You know, I mentioned I've been involved in off-road racing, but I've been involved in motorsports since the 60s. I was the publisher of Hot Rod Magazine and Carcraft Magazine for Peterson Publishing back in the early 60s and mid-60s, so I've had an opportunity to see just about all forms of motorsports, and you know, they're all great, there's no question about it, but you know, NASCAR or Indy race or anything, you know, they get a hamburger wrapper on the tarmac and they throw a yellow flag and bunch everybody up and restart the race. Well, off-road racing is really man against machinery and the elements, and there's no place better than that than Baja California. The Ragland family has been a great attribute to our sport. A longtime personal friend of mine, Larry, he came into the sport a number of years ago, and he's a real gentleman. His son Chad also is, you know, and they really represent all the great things about motorsports, and especially off-road racing. And you know, Larry is a champion, unbelievable. You know, he's won, he's had 10 SCORE championships over the beginning of SCORE International. He has 5 overall class wins with the SCORE Trophy Truck division, second only to the Herbst family. And his son Chad, along with the T-Force team, I think are going to be a force to reckon with real soon here. Chad is a very personal, very intelligent young man. I think he has taken the best of what his father has done over the years. He certainly knows the Baja terrain. He goes down there, does his homework. I know that they've been down there already pre-run. I think they were one of the first teams when the pre-running opened the first part of this month. And they do their homework. They prepare their vehicles absolutely immaculately, very technically, very professionally orientated. And Chad, you know, again, comes from a background of off-road racing. It's in his blood as a child, and he knows how to read the terrain. Well, I really believe SCORE off-road racing in Baja was an extreme sport before anyone even knew what that word meant. I mean, this is really, really tough racing, as I said, because, you know, we don't close the roads. These are, you could go from anywhere from 5 miles an hour to, on a dry lake bed, if your vehicle, which some of these SCORE trophy trucks are capable of doing, about 120 plus miles an hour. But that's only for a short distance. We run on highways, we run through towns, we run on ranchers' roads. You know, you've got people that are running backwards on the course. You've got citizens that are running right next to you because they want to be in the race. So this is not like anything else anyone really does in motorsports. And I've really tried over all these years to keep it on the edge, a safe edge, but to keep it something that is not what the normal motorsports is about. And I think that's the key and the responsibility that I have, you know, to make sure that we continue to be able to do this the way we've been doing it.